I opened the door to my son's bedroom and found bare walls, an empty floor, and a note on the windowsill that read, "Got a good price, you can thank me later." My son's entire room was gone. So was his childhood. If you enjoy stories like this, hit subscribe, because what my sister didn't know was that camera in the hallway had been recording the whole time. My name is Priya. I'm 39, and my son Arjun is 9 years old. He has autism, and his room wasn't just a bedroom, it was a carefully built sanctuary. Weighted blankets, a specific shelf of sensory toys arranged in an order only he understood. A collection of trains his late grandfather had given him, one at a time before he passed, each one a memory Arjun could hold in his hands. My husband Deepak and I had spent 3 years learning exactly what helped him regulate, exactly what he needed to feel safe in a world that often overwhelmed him. That room was the result of all of it. My younger sister Mira had always been the fun one, spontaneous, generous with compliments, quick with a joke. When Deepak and I first started dating, my best friend Layla pulled me aside at a family gathering. "Your sister looks at you like she's keeping a scoreboard," she said quietly. I laughed it off. Mira had helped me through nursing school, cried at my wedding, been the first person at the hospital when Arjun was born. Layla didn't know her the way I did. That was my first mistake, assuming 20 years of history meant 20 years of loyalty. The first few years of Arjun's diagnosis were hard, and Mira showed up in small, warm ways, babysitting so Deepak and I could attend therapy consultations, learning his favorite phrases, sitting patiently through his meltdowns without flinching. I was so grateful I overlooked the comments that crept in slowly. "Must be nice, all this attention on Arjun. I remember when Mom used to spoil you like that too." Said with a smile, said like a joke. I let it go, because grief and jealousy sometimes wear the same face, and I told myself she just needed patience. The small cruelties escalated quietly over 2 years. She'd reorganize Arjun's toys when she babysat, insisting it looked less cluttered, ignoring that the specific arrangement was part of what kept him calm. She'd roll her eyes when I asked her to follow his routine exactly. "You baby him too much, Priya. Kids adapt." She had no children of her own and no real understanding of sensory regulation, but she had opinions about all of it, delivered with total confidence. I corrected her gently every time. She smiled every time and did it again the next visit. Isolation crept in without me noticing at first. Mira started making comments to our mother about how obsessive I'd become about Arjun's routines. And slowly, family gatherings started happening without direct invitations to us. Oh, we figured it'd be too much for Arjun. My own mother, always easily influenced by Mira's confident tone, started echoing the same language. Deepak's family, thankfully, stayed close, but my side of the family grew quieter, more distant, one excuse at a time. The first major incident happened at a family lunch when Arjun was 7. He was having a hard sensory day, rocking gently and humming to self-soothe. And Mira, in front of 12 relatives, said loudly, "Can you get him to stop that? It's actually kind of embarrassing to watch." The table went quiet. Arjun, sensitive to tone even when he couldn't always process the specific words, burst into tears and had a full meltdown in the middle of the restaurant. I had to carry my sobbing son out to the car while my own sister sat inside, unbothered, sipping her drink. She called that night, crying, apologizing, saying she'd had a bad week and didn't mean it. She sent Arjun a gift, a toy train, ironically, and for a while, things were calm. That calm lasted about a month. The next incident came faster, then faster again, each apology shorter than the last, each bad week excuse thinner than the one before. The ticking clock arrived this spring. Deepak's company sent him to a 2-week training program in Singapore, and I decided to take Arjun to visit my in-laws for the same stretch, since his school had a scheduled break. Mira, strangely eager, offered to keep an eye on the house while we were gone, water the plants, collect the mail. I hesitated. Something in her tone felt too enthusiastic. But Layla, my anchor through all of this, was traveling for work and couldn't check on the house herself, and I didn't have another option I trusted at the time. I said yes. I would spend the next 2 weeks regretting that single word. The turning point came 4 days before we returned. My neighbor, Mrs. Alvarez, texted me a photo that made my stomach drop. A garage sale sign at the end of my driveway, and beside it, in the photo, Arjun's train shelf sitting in our front yard with a $5 each sticker on it. I stared at my phone for a full minute, certain I was misunderstanding something. I called Mira immediately. She answered cheerfully. "Oh, yeah, I figured since you guys were gone, I'd help you declutter. That room was way too much stuff for a kid, Priya. I got you like $600 for everything. You can thank me when you get back." $600. For a room built over 3 years around a child who needed every single object in it exactly where it was. I didn't scream. I couldn't even speak. I hung up and called Layla, hands shaking so badly I could barely hold the phone. She was on the next flight home from her work trip, 2 days early, specifically to check the house before we got back. "Priya, don't say anything else to her yet," she said. "Get proof first. All of it." Layla let herself into the house with the spare key and found devastation. The room stripped bare, the trains gone, including the ones from Arjun's late grandfather, irreplaceable, unrecoverable. The weighted blankets sold. Even his labeled sensory bins, the ones with laminated picture cards he needed to communicate his needs, gone for a few dollars to strangers who had no idea what they held. But Layla remembered something I'd forgotten in my panic. The small hallway camera Deepak had installed the year before, after a break-in scare 2 houses down. She pulled the footage. There was Mira, over 3 separate days, carrying box after box out to the driveway, laughing on the phone with a friend, saying clearly on camera, "They'll probably be annoyed for like a day, then get over it. It's just stuff." It's just stuff. 3 years of Arjun's world dismissed in 6 words. I flew home 2 days early, leaving Deepak's parents to look after Arjun for 1 more day so I could handle this without him seeing me break down. Layla met me at the house with the footage already organized, time-stamped, saved in triplicate. We drove straight to Mira's apartment together. I wasn't shaking anymore. I was done being patient. Mira opened the door mid-laugh, expecting gratitude, and found my face instead. I played the video on my phone without a word. Her smile faltered, then vanished. "Priya, I was trying to help," she started, and I cut her off, my voice steadier than I felt. "You sold my son's grandfather's trains for pocket change and laughed about it on camera. There is no version of help in that sentence." We didn't yell. We didn't need to. Layla had already found the exact garage sale post Mira had made online, complete with photos of items still tagged with the store labels from when we'd bought them. Proof of value far beyond the $600 she'd pocketed. We filed a police report for unauthorized sale of personal property, and separately, I consulted a lawyer about a civil claim for damages, since some of what she sold, the trains especially, had no fair market replacement. The final consequence landed harder than Mira ever expected. Our mother, once quick to defend her, watched the hallway footage in silence, and for the first time in my life, chose me without hesitation. "She had no right," she said quietly, and meant it. Mira was ordered to pay restitution, $4,200, covering what could be verified and appraised, and lost access to our home entirely. Extended family who'd once laughed along with her jokes about Arjun stopped answering her calls once the footage circulated. She'd built her charm on being the fun aunt. The video showed everyone what that charm had actually been protecting. Rebuilding Arjun's room took months, not because of money, but because some things simply couldn't be replaced. Deepak and I worked with his occupational therapist to recreate the sensory environment as closely as possible. And slowly, painstakingly, Arjun adjusted. He still asks sometimes where his grandfather's trains went. I tell him the truth in the gentlest way I can. And some nights, that's the hardest conversation I have. Layla, who dropped everything and flew home early without a second thought, has become the person I trust with my son's world completely. She helped us rebuild his room shelf by shelf, remembering details I was too heartbroken to think of myself. She didn't have to do any of it. She just did. It's been 7 months now. Arjun's room is his again. Different trains, same careful order. Same sanctuary rebuilt with more love than money could measure. My sister reached out once, a long message full of excuses I didn't finish reading. Some bridges you don't burn on purpose. Some just collapse under the weight of what someone finally shows you they were capable of all along. If this story moved you, hit that subscribe button. There are so many more stories like this.